Flight Boss, bitch. You know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon, Flight Boss, the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now I want to talk about where's heaven? Where's heaven in astrology? Because, see, astrology predates everything. Astrology, everything in this world has to presuppose astrology to make any claim. That goes for religion or anything. So when you listen to a preacher or anybody like that, or any scientist, whatever like that, look, a preacher can't tell you about a God better than an astrologer. You see what I'm saying? Nobody can tell you about energy or elements better than an astrologer. Can't nobody tell you where we at, about time, about location, and what's currently going on better than astrologer. Can't nobody. Astrologer is the first science. Look, science is pseudoscience. All science is pseudoscience. Do your research on it. If you do any kind of study, you'll realize that science is pseudo. It ain't just a bunch of people using Greek shit and then they just got the money to use tools to do some pseudo shit. These are just people who got the tools to do some pseudo shit with. So don't be misguided and believe. There's really truly no such thing as a photon, proton, neutron, and all that shit. These are just titles and names that they put on their pseudoness or their imagination or what they think they see. That's like, say me and you don't know what a lighter is, right? So we gonna make a name for it. So me and you agree what a lighter is and what it does, but that's not necessarily what it is. And we know that's a fact because everybody have a different perception amongst one thing. So if everybody will automatically agree on everything if something appeared to be what it actually is. See what I'm saying? So that cancel out the box right there. Now check this out. I want you to understand this first. Cause you might think you got a word for it called reincarnation or something like that, but it really ain't none of that shit. This shit is just, it is what it is. And I'm just gonna make a small example. This goes for bugs. Bugs is smaller, so it take less frequency vibration for them to ascend. Animals are a little bit higher. So let me just make this example before we get into this video of where the heavens is at in astrology. Now check this out. This is something a religious person won't know. Your spirit, your conscious is like a shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas. I know people who watch me continuously hear me say that. But once you understand that, you'll understand how things take place. Now say you may have been in this existence or in this location in space, in this realm, in this field, whatever you want to call it, a lot longer than other. So you are a bigger source. You are a bigger gas form here because you have took many vessels here. So for you to be a human right now means you have experienced this realm of reality a lot of times. So you took many different vessels and you have learned enough experience based upon these elements, the information that is carrying, which will be the reality to you and everything that it consists of. And this developed more energy, more elements impacting on your shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas. So it's bigger now. So this is why you're able to create a bigger brain to surround your bigger gas. So your gas is like, you know what I'm saying? And you build your body around it. Your body is a spaceship. Now look, now say a lesser shapeless, formless, non-flammable gas coming from space and traveling with their space group, and then they come in this field, right? Their gas may take a certain amount of being based upon what their frequency vibrating on. Say their frequency vibrating on the star constellation of Sirius or something like that. When they come here, they spirit conscious may only be big enough to go into a animal vessel, a dog vessel. You see what I'm saying? So the vibration frequency, highest vibration, could only resonate with a dog here. right? So it's not the shapeless form is odorless non-flammable gas, and the group of them that came here wasn't quite big enough to receive the information to build a human brain, aka it would take you to do it based upon a male's frequency vibration, you know what I'm saying, and the thoughts and the ideas that they have. And since your brain is bigger, your shapeless form is odorless non-flammable gas building a bigger brain, the certain other gases that come here have to, aka spirits, have to be vibrating on that mass of a frequency. See, you're all just space dust. What you think is physical is not that's another video though, I'm telling you. Alright, now look. So when they come here, they may not be quite smart or have enough information to sustain a human vessel here, but they can sustain a dog. So look, boom, certain dogs, now with that whole space group, their vibration frequency is different. You got certain males and females that come in based upon the light spectrum that they came in. And then you got, in their little group, you got certain ones, smaller, certain flames, aka non-flammable gases, spirits, that's bigger and smaller than others, correlate to them. But it's all kind of like in the same size area because they're a space group, but you're still always going to have some bigger than others, some smarter than others. Some gamma rays, some light rays, some rays bigger than others. So they're going to develop bigger brains than the other one. So this dog may be smarter than that dog when they take these vessels. Now, as one go into a dog, right? It may go into a male dog based upon the frequency vibration it resonated with, what that dog was doing, the ideas it was doing. And that conscious went into that dog, right? Start to build a body for itself. But to this being, it's just going into a universe. It built a brain for itself with all the fluids, with all the spirit, with all the pieces of the frequency vibration of the male dog it went in. Then once it reached the lower chakra, which the lower organ, the lower planets in that dog, right? That's it made its first body. Now, to be able to sustain that, it has to die and go into a woman. So when that male is in heat, it has sex with a female dog, then that body that the conscious is in plays out in that sperm body and could go into the which is in that realm, that would be like a spirit jumping into the universe, jumping into the rainbow waters. You know what I'm saying? But it just jumped into a male fluids, a male idea. And once that male had the idea and had feelings about that, then that's when that spirit got legs to walk on. It can sustain itself. Oh, it's appreciating me. And then it live in that world for however long, going to the mother, once that male dog is in heat. Then it goes into, that's the second 2D world. And then it developed the vibrations and feelings. It's getting ready to become physical, but it's in the premortalness of that it jumped in. But to the, you know what I'm saying? It's just correlating with itself. It's just one life. Now, the dog is able to come out and be birthed into this realm, but as just the frequency vibration of a dog. Now, say this dog is smart, so in some way, shape, or form, it's gonna have the ability to be a pet. So like, you don't know why you went and got a dog. That dog don't know why you went and got it. But for real, in the astral realm, it is a reason. You know what I'm saying? And I'm explaining it right now. The dog is smart enough, so the circumstance and the situation that it's manifesting for itself is just going in that way. Now, the dog, you don't understand it by language and externally, but you know about it by universal law. You know, if you express the love, the dog express it back. You see what I'm saying? So when that's the universal law. Everybody understand that's vibrations. So you can't talk to the dog and tell the dog I love you. You have to express it. So if the dog not expressing love back, the dog still tearing up your house and shit, it's not resonating with you, so you got to get rid of it. You see what I'm saying? But if the dog understand, if the dog know how to resonate with you, and the dog know how to be a nice pet, then that's letting the dog, that's confirmation that the dog is resonating with you. So the dog is learning human ways. So the dog, shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas, the spirit within that brain, the spirit within the dog, right, is getting bigger because it's vibrating. So it's learning human ways. So when that dog die, it has the possibility to go into a man, woman like body in this realm, to finish the experience in the totality of learning everything in this realm, so it can ascend. The human is the highest vessel for this realm. Then after this, it is no more. You have to ascend to the fourth dimension. You see what I'm saying? So the dog shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas has expanded based upon just being a pet. So you help the dog go to heaven here. So when a dog die and be able to build a human brain and be able to come out into this world through a human existence, you created the heaven for the dog in so many ways. The dog created a heaven for itself. So the dog is experiencing its heaven or its hell. But the dog has ascended. But you need to understand that what you look at as ascension and descension is really just you going to a higher vessel, a higher body, or you going into a lower body. Say that dog was in a family of dogs that a bunch of stray dogs. They gonna keep coming back as dogs, or they may, if that dog don't learn and keep getting hit by cars and shit, it may show the universe that you can't even handle being a dog. So in this reality, you come into something lesser than a dog. You may come into a rat next time, then come into a bug. You see what I'm saying? Until you understand these, and it don't matter how many times you keep coming back in different versions, it's till you learn. And the being we in general, is ascended on its travel. And it take longest for it. You see what I'm saying? Now that we got that out the way, we know ascension and descension. We know you're truly just jumping from body to body. And when we say what's up, it's truly outside of you. When we say what's down, it's truly within. You see what I'm saying? So if you think about that, the more you go within, the deeper. That's why they say, man, I've been deep in my feelings. They go down. So when you get lost in your feelings, you're too deep. And the deeper you go, the heavier you get. You can't move. Right? And when you say high, it's within the mind. But if you get too high, new word, tie. But if you get too high, right? People say what? You're out of your mind. So you end up being outside of you. So you end up thinking like, do I have to point to something outside of me that is higher? But in so many ways, if you went the highest you can go, which is the highest your own thought can go, then you have to understand that it's something higher than you. But in key words, higher mind. So when you go high within your mind. When you go beyond your mind, you have no choice but to think that, okay, it's a higher mind. So when you think it's ascension, Christian's religion got it wrong. Ascension is you ascending into another being that got a higher mind. So now that we got this out the way, let's break down what is heaven in astrology. Now I'm gonna break it down in astrology first, then I'm gonna break it down how this correlates to the being we are in. Now, in astrology, our heaven and what you're trying to ascend to, because when you get higher in your mind and then you think, all right, you automatically think to look up, and then you think, okay, what's above us, what's high? Then it make humans consciously aware of the North Pole star. You know what I'm saying? Then the North Pole star, now you have to consider what's around the North Pole star. Then you could go to my video to understand what being we are in. We are in the dragon-like Draco being. We are in the snake end. So our solar system is on the tail end. So we see the North Star as Polaris, and the Polaris is in the tail of the just go look at it's the constellation of the little bear. I think Ursa. If I'm not mistaken, Ursa, but Polaris, go do the research on Polaris. It's on the tail of that, right? So our position, our solar system, and where we are being in that solar system, it's just looking how we're looking up. We think that's the North Pole, but this is what you need to understand. I don't want people to get too wrapped up into the North Pole, because all you're going to do is stand from one animal to another animal. The more scientists put all this energy and focus into the North Pole, in the world that we're in, amongst this being we're in, the totality of say I'm this being that we're in, right? How I'm looking at things is, I'm trying to ascend to the real women like being. But our perception is paying attention to the North Pole. The North Pole is on the tail end of the little bear. I don't want us to pay too much attention to that, because from our perspective, if we gain a lot of knowledge and gain a lot of information, and our all the elements that's going to consist of our shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas is going to vibrate on that frequency. And we just going to go to another animal. Because we're already in a snake, dragon, naga-like serpent animal. We don't want to go to that. Now, all right, we're going to break this down. Now, around the North Pole, right, what's around that is the constellations Cassiopeia and, it's Cassiopeia and motherfucking, CEPHEUS. Cassiopeia and CEPHEUS. Now these constellations is surrounding the North Pole. Now, check this out. Now, these two star constellations came together and birthed the Andromeda constellation. So the Andromeda constellation is the child of Cassiopeia and CEPHEUS. Now, these stars are surrounding our North Pole, but they're higher stars. They're higher beings. Now, that's astrology wise. So that's astronomy right there. Now let's break it down astrology wise. Now, in this snake-like being we are, right? We're next, or we're in the jungle or the field. We're like Nagas, right? And we're like beings, and we're next to like Ursa Major and shit like that, right? Now, here's the thing. In this world, there's gods, there's kings and queens in this world. And same way we got a president in this world and kings and shit in this. Now, in the being we live in, and in this snake Draco being, in that world, if we was to live in that world, like we live within that being, we live in that being's innerverse. We're the transverse of this being. If we was to get birthed out in that world, which is what we're trying to do, I'm about to give you the concept. In that world, the king and the queen is CEPHEUS and motherfucking Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia is the queen. She's a girl. She's a woman, a real woman. She's the queen, and the king is CEPHEUS, and their child is Andromeda. Now Cassiopeia, right, resides over. To see her, you would have to look through the Taurus constellation from our perspective. Like I said, our constellations, the 12 constellations, is our body, wrappings, our flesh. You know what I'm saying? And within our body, our spirit, our spinal, our chakra is our solar system. That's what's floating within our body. What's us alive and shit. But everything is alive. Same way your blood cells and shit like that. Look at that as the 12 constellations, Aries through Pisces. This is our body. Aries is your head, your skull. Aries is hard. This is the stars that build your skull and shit. And for you to see, this is why the sun is exalted in Aries. You can see. You see what I'm saying? Then you get down here, Taurus, the neck area, and things of that nature. Your voice, your volume. This is the star constellation of Taurus. The lungs and shit, your shoulders. This is the star constellation of Gemini. You see what I'm saying? Your heart and all this shit. This is the star constellation of Cancer. Getting down to your solar plexus and shit like that. This is the star constellation of Leo. Getting down to your urges, your desires a little bit, your nervousness and shit like that. That's your star constellations of Virgo. Getting a little bit above your pelvic and your sex organs and shit. That's the star constellation of Libra. You know what I'm saying? Your pussy and your dick and your ass and your holes and shit and your portals. That's the star constellations of Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? Your thighs. Thighs and shit. That's the star constellation of Sagittarius. This is where our solar system is actually at the moment, and this is how we developed legs and centaur-like shit. You see what I'm saying? Around Scorpio and Sagittarius constellation. This is where our solar system is at in our body, but in this whole being body. You see what I'm saying? This shit is deep, man. This shit is real though. You know what I'm saying? The kneecaps and shit like that. These are the Saturn star constellations. You know what I'm saying? your shins. This is the Aquarius star constellation. Your feet, that's your, with how your feet look, your pores, all that, everything is stars. Everything. Stop, get your mind out of particles and separating particles and shit. Like, okay, this is a nucleus. Okay, this is well, nucleus, that's the single star, but I'm gonna get into that. But electron, protons, everything is the stars, micro, macro stars on every level. You see what I'm saying? And then I just named your whole star constellation. What get you moving? What get your star constellation moving? Your chakras, your planets. You know what I'm saying? Your planets. This is why the sun, each planet rules a specific part of your body. This is how we get medical science. This is how we, you see what I'm saying? So as this being that we're in, it's doing this 360. Is this the being? If we was to look, if we was outside this being looking at us, we're looking at this being Aries through Pisces, and this being alive through its chakra system. So it's looking around. It's this Draco snake being. And it's looking around. This is why the Draco constellation go through all the constellation except the part where our solar system is at, where and it is that part. The reason they don't add it on constellational words is because they don't know where to tell in at, because we in it. Anytime you don't know where something at, it's because we in it. Antarctica and all that shit, we in it. You see what I'm saying? So yeah. So we are the legs, the knees, the feet. Our solar system is in that part right now. Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, all this is in that part. That's how we got this ability right now. We ascended as a whole being. So we not water beings in this land-like beings anymore. We can walk and shit now. As a whole being, no. This being we're in. And we're smaller versions of that doing it. If you get what I'm saying. See, astrology is the truth beyond anything. Now, as this being, this Draco-like being looking around, the kings and gods in this world, and the king and the queen is Cassiopeia and CEPHEUS. So check this out. Check this out. I want you to look at this real quick. Look at CEPHEUS right here. Look at CEPHEUS. This is the constellation CEPHEUS. If we Draco, look where we at. We on the motherfucking ground, but we separate. Remind you, you know we in Draco because every time we talk about Draco or serpent-like, snake-like, it's because it say our constellation, where we at. It's always pertaining to something about us. Anytime we talk about Orion or CEPHEUS, or these are outside of us. That lets you know these are not us. These are higher beings. Look at Ursa Major on the ground. So we are animals to these beings. You see what I'm saying? We are animals. Now, we are animals to these beings. Look at the queen. That's motherfucking Cassiopeia. Now she's in Taurus. She's in Taurus, right? CEPHEUS is in Aries. And so is Andromeda. That's the child. So, remember how I was speaking about at the beginning of the video that we gotta become influences in some type of way to ascend? The same way the dog ascended to the human? So, if we're gonna ascend to our heaven, to the real woman, like, and this will be our heaven, then once we get into their beings, we'll be able to see the world through them the same way we see in the world through our draconic transverse. And we'll be able to ascend from that and understand how they see God in heaven from this whole world universe we in, and be able to take a bigger, we'll be able to expand our shapeless form as odorless non-flammable gas, and we don't have to keep coming back here. And we already understand men, women like from the ones that we already communicated with, like Orion and all them. They was trying to kill us and shit. Ophiuchus and shit. You see what I'm saying? This is where I get a lot of my knowledge from. This is where we at right now. Ophiuchus trying to come and do shit to us. You see what I'm saying? And we learned that shit. And how we perceived it is the best way we can. That's why we got pictures of Aquarius. That part of our mind, we pictured a man pouring out water. But what a man was pouring out was that rainbow water. the space water, not this lower density water we're in, like the air flame and all that shit. This the bigger water. The men in that realm is pouring out rainbow water and shit, that kind of water. And that kind of water is filling the water that we're in. This is why you get shit in the Bible talking about the canopy and water draining down here. It's not the water you think of, it's the rainbow water. That water is like it's for you to have a different imagination. So in the Bible, when the canopy dropped and the water above the firmament, the firm land, came down into the bottom waters and shit like that, that was just you was receiving new information. Same way water down here carry information when you drink it. So that kind of water is a higher dense water. So when you got splashed with that water, your spirit got splashed with that water. So it drank new information, new knowledge. You received new information from higher beings. You see what I'm saying? And how they correlate with things. This shit is real. Like, yeah, so to ascend, we gotta create some type of influence. So remember how I said how we travel through the yin realm? If you want to go for it, you feel like you're moving forward. If you want to look up, you feel upbeat, optimistic. Y'all go to my videos. Y'all know about that if you've been watching my videos. Now, we're going to have to do that. We got to control this being we in. We got to make this motherfucker quit being so negligent and stop trying to get killed and shit. Now, we need to, because we are the transverse, so we control the emotions and feelings of this being. You see what I'm saying? So we need to do something to resonate with these higher beings. And how we do that is we got to start doing a lot of influences that's coming from Andromeda, the Palladians. Now Palladians is in the eye of the Taurus bull. Palladians, Andromeda, we got to start doing their influences to get there. Now how we do their influences, we got to go through our filters. Now they are the backdrop. They are behind our star constellations, which is relative where we at, Taurus and Aries. So we got to do a lot of, so now let me say this also. In this realm of reality, we're receiving, Aries and Taurus is receiving queen and king energies. So Aries and Tauruses are kings and queens down here. That's another video though. Now, but what we got to do is we got to do a lot of Aries-like influences and a lot of Taurus-like influences. Boom. Then now wake up the back stars. That'll motivate that'll show because what you're channeling is channeling you also. That's how you get your sign. So, boom. That light will filter the lights that's behind those constellations. And the light that's behind those constellations is the Palladians, which is in the eye of the bull, the Taurus. You see what I'm saying? Algol, Medusa and all them. And Andromeda, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of Cetus, you know what I'm saying? So we got to go through Hamal and all them. We got to talk to these motherfuckers and understand what's going on in their small perception level as just being organs and shit and different blood cells and shit. Boom. Then once we start doing shit the best we can to resonate with those energies, then boom, we'll start understanding knowledges from what made them, which is the backdrop behind them is fucking Cassiopeia and motherfucking CEPHEUS. Those are the star backdrops behind Andromeda. That's the parents. You know what I'm saying? So where we at, we perceive the star constellation to be further away, but in the being we're in, it perceives them just as being higher conscious beings. You know what I'm saying? Beings with more prestige, more authority, more ability, more conscious awareness. For an example, down here, when you think of something that's higher than you, you think of it in two ways, an internal and an external way. An external way is a person who have more than you, or a person who have a lot of things. The internal way is a person who may have more wisdom than you, more knowledge. But both of these is pointing in the direction of up. When a person want to gain prosperity externally in their life, they feel like they're moving up in life. When a person want to receive knowledge and wisdom, that's the yin realm. That's the internal. They feel like they're moving up in life. So that's the concept of moving up. So understand that. So when we're looking up in light, we got to go to the high constellations. We're trying to ascend to Cassiopeia and CEPHEUS. And the being we're in its world, these Cassiopeia and CEPHEUS are just represented as higher beings, higher prestige beings. You see what I'm saying? This shit ain't fake. Now, yeah. Now we need to make ourselves relatable in some type of way, whether we get killed or whatever, or however, but we need to get close and have some type of interaction so we can get, even if we're getting chased or something like that. That builds on information for us, so we can know what to do and what not to do next time. That elevates our consciousness. That makes our overall shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas bigger. So since we are a piece of that within it, all of our shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas will get bigger. And we have the ability or the potential to skip processes. Same way when you burp, you release gas. That's probably like a spirit that has the potential to go wherever the fuck they want to go. If those blood cells or whatever you have burped was smart enough. You see what I'm saying? And they don't attach themselves back to you in some type of way, based upon you breathing back in or whatever like that. But yeah, we need to resonate with them in some way, shape, or form the best way we can. We can't talk to them, but we could do universal law, make them feel a certain way, whether we gotta scare them or make them feel like we're unharmful or whatever. And the way we do that down here is how I was just explaining. Down here, let's get consciously aware of Aries and Taurus like things, and do some Aries type things, which is initiating and creating new ways of how to see and feel about things, and Taurus is having a fixated way of thinking and being practical and making sense. Let's combine these two things and create some lava type situations down here. And the better we do that, we'll tap into Palladians, then we'll tap into Andromeda, then that light will get filtered to CEPHEUS, and then we'll start receiving information from Cassiopeia and CEPHEUS. Then once all those lights get filtered down, we'll get some new information, and with these new informations and technologies that we end up utilizing and using, all that together makes our shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas bigger. So when we die transformed from this body, boom, god damn it, we got the ability to go into somebody who's on the frequency vibration of CEPHEUS or Cassiopeia. So in so many ways in the astral realm, we're going up and we're traveling up through star systems. And physically, we'll be able to take one of those vessels of these higher beings. And we'll be able to see the world through them. So when we in that world doing constellations and shit like that and drawing shit, and we look down at a snake or something like that, we looking at where we just came from. That'll be some motherfucking shit, won't it? Flight bus, bitch. Goddamn air.